Hi there and welcome to a short video demo of an iOS application that I'm currently working on. As of the making of this video, the application is not yet available in the App Store. I'm actually posting this video to see if there's any interest for this. I've built it for myself and I'm finding it quite useful, so I'm basically posting this video to see if I can get any feedback and see if it's worth putting on the App Store. So that said, as the name implies, the application relates to managing audio files on the looper pedal. Now, as far as looper pedal, I'm using the Loop Core Stereo by NUX. I think it's a fantastic looper pedal. It has a ton of features. It's stereo. It's got a really nice user interface. The display is really useful, not only for configuring the pedal, but to see the loop as it's playing through. It has a drum machine on board. It's MIDI capable. Again, tons of features. And one of those features is the ability to have audio tracks to play along to. So you basically load them on the pedal and the various presets. There's 99 placeholders for these, or 99 loops that you can store. So now NUX is not the only pedal that does this. There's also the Ditto Plus, I believe. There's a pedal by Boss, and I'm sure there's others as well. But it has the ability to take audio files as your base loop, so you can play over that. Now, as far as these files I'm using, I'm actually using the Yurt Rock loops, and they make specific loops for looper pedals, which are set bars, and some of them have more than drums, so they have a key to them as well. They're fantastic. They're basically real musicians playing real drums. They're very high quality and they sound amazing. Now, and that's the whole reason why you would use this over, say, a drum machine, because it's much more organic, because it's real musicians playing. You have that feel, and playing along to those kinds of backing tracks is a very different experience. Now, as far as the process that's involved typically with putting these files on your pedal, it's typically a drag and drop. So you would basically find your Yurt Rock files and then drag and drop them onto the pedal in the right folders. Now, like I said, there's 99 folders, so it's quite a few folders to manage. And there's also a couple of caveats to doing this. One, the file has to be in a specific format. So in the case of the Yurt Rock files, they are 24-bit WAV files. The Loop Core Stereo requires them to be 32-bit float. So there is a conversion involved now. There is an application that's provided by NUX to do this. However, it's PC or Mac based. And one of my requirements when I set out to build my own app was to have it iOS based, so that I could run it on my iPad or iPhone. It's much easier to bring that to my pedal and connect and manage my files than it is to take the pedal to the PC. The second caveat is the sound level. When you're dealing with audio files that are placed on a pedal as your backing track for the loop, your volume control is the same as your loop. So if they are too loud or too soft, and your guitar feed is either too loud or too soft in relation to that, it becomes a little difficult to work with. So I wanted the ability to adjust the volume of those tracks. Now, just a side point here, if you're using the drum machine on the Loop Core, it has its own volume, and then you have a different volume for that drum track than you do from your loop. But if you're using an audio file as your bass loop, it's the same volume that you're using for both the backing track and your loop. So that's why it's important, excuse me, it's important to be able to control the volume as you're converting those files. And the application does that as well. And then finally, I wanted a user interface to basically manage the files that are on the pedal, instead of having to navigate into individual folders and see what file is in which folder. And I wanted something that was more had a more general view of all the presets that are set to given loops. And I also wanted to be able to do backup and restore. So all that said, the app itself does all of this. So I thought I would walk you through what it looks like. And again, the purpose is to get some feedback as to whether or not there's any interest for this kind of application. Okay, on to the demo portion of the video, and if we look at the pedal and I cycle through the presets, they are all currently white, which means that we have no presets assigned to the pedal as of yet, so we're starting with a blank slate. Essentially, when you place a WAV file on the pedal in a given preset, that preset number will become red, and that's your indication that there is a audio file assigned to that preset. So let's connect the iPad to the pedal using the USB. So I will zoom out and show that we're connecting to the pedal. Now the iPad is connected to the pedal, so we can launch the app and go through the demo. So I will be using a mouse so you get to see where I'm actually clicking or tapping. So I'm opening the app, and if you've connected to the folder previously, which I have, it will automatically reconnect to that same folder. So if we look at the very bottom, it says connected to Wave on NUX Looper device. So it actually connected to the folder already, and there are no presets found. As I said, we're starting with a pedal that has no presets defined as of yet. And how does it know that we're connected to the correct folder? If we look at the settings on the top right hand corner, and if I open the settings, we have three components to the settings. One is the folder name Wave. So if you pick a folder other than Wave, the app will show an error and will not interact with that folder. It needs to be the same folder that's defined here, and that's a safeguard that since we're going to be adding files and deleting files and renaming files, I want to make sure that we're pointing to the right folder. So in the settings here, we state what the target folder name is, and when we select the folder, it has to be this folder. Similarly, there's a folder pattern, so all of these presets are stored in a number of folders that are of a pattern of W and then 3 digits for the preset number. So W001, 002, and so on. So this folder pattern dictates which folders the app will interact with. Again, it's a safeguard. And then the 99 presets is the number of presets that are on the pedal. These are adjustable settings so that it matches the pedal configuration, and hence if the pedal version changes or it's a different pedal, it should still work as long as you have the correct folder name, the correct file pattern for the individual folders of the presets, and the number of presets defined. So let's close this. So, and selecting the Wave folder is the icon on the bottom here. So basically, again, you have to go and navigate and select the proper folder. In my case, I selected the device NUX Looper that is shown here, and inside that device there's a folder called NCL2. I selected that. Now if I would have selected this folder, the app would not work. Let's actually do that. So we will see that there's an error and we are not connected, so the app will not interact with that folder because it's not the Wave folder. It says that I'm connected to NCL2 on the NUX Looper, but that's not the correct folder. So let's reopen this, and now I will select Wave. And that's the folder that I want. So now it will retrieve whatever presets are present on that pedal. And again, we have 9 so far. So that's the connectivity aspect of the app. And if we look at the user interface at the very top, I have an explanation of how to add files. So we can either tap the icon at the top, which will open up the files app to go select a file to put on the pedal, or we can drag and drop a file into the drop area that's over here. The middle part will show any presets that are on the pedal. As we add them, we'll see that being populated. And then the other icon that I have on the app is a sync from the folder, and if I tap this, it will just resync from the folders. Should the app and the folders go out of sync, this will refresh the app with whatever is on the pedal at that time. It does this automatically. It's just an additional way to invoke this manually. So let's start adding files. So if I click on the icon, which is the first method of adding files, it will ask me to go select a file, an audio file. Now I'm using the Yurt Rock, as I've said before. So I will go to my favorites, which is the Yurt Rock folder. And I will just change this to a list so that we see the names. So I have these 3 packs of the Yurt Rock files. Now I'm using the Yurt Rock as audio files, as I mentioned before. These are 24-bit, so obviously select these files or add them to the pedal. It will convert them to 32-bit. The app will work with most common audio formats, MP3. I've tried a couple, I obviously didn't try them all, but it should work with the more common file formats, but these are WAV files. So if I go into the demo and I pick the artist series loops. Now these are our loops that are available for me to pick from. I've pre-selected 3 and I've renamed them so they show up at the top so it's easier to find. So we're going to use these 3. Now if I want to sample this before I put it on the pedal, if you click and hold it and then do a quick look, it will actually open up the player and I can sample. So that's sampling before we put it on the pedal. Now I'm actually going to literally click on it, so tap on it, and then that will put it on the pedal. Now, anytime I add a file either through the tap and select, as we're doing now, or drag and drop, it will show me this volume adjustment pop-up, and that's basically to adjust the volume on conversion. So if that was way too loud for me, I could drop down the volume so it'll convert it at a lesser volume. 1 is equal volume, and then above 1 would be increased volume, so more volume. So I have the ability to convert at either lower or higher volume or equal volume. What you'll find is if you have a set of files that are all at the same level and you want them to be either lower or higher, once you've found a volume adjustment that works for you, you can save it as a default using the icon here, and that will save that setting. So if I move the slider somewhere else now and click the reset from default, it will put it back to whatever default I saved. So that's a way to have a consistent conversion at the same level. So I will go ahead and convert at equal volume just so that we can see how this works. And now I've got it on the pedal. Now I can click on that row and it will show me additional icons. So I'll go through these icons now. So the very first one is basically a headset or headphones, so it'll let me sample or listen to the recording. So you'll notice it's the same volume as when I sampled it in the Files Explorer, but that's sampling it off the pedal, so post-conversion. I can edit it, so basically rename this to be a different name on the pedal. So if I wanted this to be just the 4 on the floor at 96 BPM and get rid of the rest, or name it whatever I want, chorus, verse, what have you. So now it's renamed that file on the pedal to whatever I've chosen here. And then the resampling of the volume, let's assume that this volume that we have now was way too loud in my context of using it on the pedal. I can resample it, the audio, at a lower volume. So if I click on this, it'll bring up that same pop-up that we saw at adding the file. So I can now adjust this, say, to a lower volume and convert. It has resampled that audio file, so if I listen to it again, we said it's much softer. And this volume conversion is iterative, so if I run it again at that same setting, it'll reduce the volume that it's at now by that same amount. So it goes from the volume of the current file and either adjusts it lower or higher. So if I want to bring it back higher now, so I can convert it again and listen to it. It's now back to pretty much where it was. All right, after making this video, I did make an update to the app and it relates to the volume adjustment. Now what you just saw still stands. It's the same overall functionality for adjusting the volume. However, previously when I was adjusting the volume up or down, I would have to convert the file and then go back into the main screen and resample it or listen to it. Whereas now I've embedded a audio player within the volume adjustment, so it will play the track and I can adjust the volume and hear the difference and then commit to that volume with the convert, and that's what it will convert at. So much more efficient as far as adjusting the volume. So if I click on sample audio now, it will play the track. And I can adjust the volume down or the volume up. And it will play for the duration of the track. So once it stops, I can start it again. It will restart at equal volume and then I can adjust up or down. But and the buttons still work with resetting to the default. So if I play it again, it'll start at 1. If I click the reset to default, it'll go back to our default that we set earlier. Or I can reset to the middle. So that adjustment is now happening in real time and I'm hearing it. So it's much easier to get the volume I want, then convert, and we're done. So yeah, that's the new feature, and I just thought I'd insert it in the video so that we see what it's about. And yeah, back to regular programming. That's the volume adjustment, and then I can delete it off the pedal. So if I literally delete it, it will take it off the pedal. So let's do that. So now we're back with no files on the pedal. So tapping and selecting is one way to add the files. The other way is using the drag and drop. And for this, because I'm on an iPad, I Files app and bring it into context. So now I've got the Files app on the left and the app on the right. So I can now use the drag and drop instead of the tapping and selecting a file. So if I go into the same Yurt Rock demo Look at the loops, and let's say that I want to bring that 4 on the floor back on. I can click it and drag it and drop it into the area, which is the shaded area, which is the drop area. And now it'll show me that same conversion. So if I want it to like for like, I'll reselect my equal volume and I will hit the convert. That'll bring it on the pedal. Now if I take a second file, say this one, and drag and drop it, it will add it to the next available preset and convert it. So now we have 1 in 1 and 1 in 2. And if I want to sample before I put it on the pedal, I can always click on the file, listen to it, and then drag it and drop it. So, and then convert it. So that will bring these files into the whatever placeholders are available sequentially. Any of those I can tap on the row and it will show me the icons to action the file as we've seen before, listening to it on the pedal. Changing the name, resampling the volume, and then deleting is always available. Now the other icon that is available is the preset number. So now we have them in 1, 2, 3 because we've sequentially added those, and it'll always assign the next available preset number. But let's say I wanted this number 3 and actually number 5. I can tap on that number. It will show me the 99 presets that are available on the pedal, and it shows which ones are used. So 1 and 2 are used, and this is number 3. It puts it in green. I can't select this one. I'm already here. But I can select 2 or 1. It will just overwrite whatever's there and put this file into that preset. Or I can select an available preset, which in this case is number 5. So if I go ahead and select that, it will move it to preset number 5. Now we see there's a new drop area in between 2 and 5 because there is a space there. So I could drag another file. Let's pick another one at random. This one maybe. And then drag and drop it. And then to convert, it will put this in the available placeholder, which was 3. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 is still available, so I could grab another file in 4 or leave it blank, but it will show you where there's gaps in the sequence. Now the sequence can be important if you're using the pedal in the context of a song part, i.e. verse, chorus. This pedal is quite good at doing this because of the MIDI capabilities of it. You can assign a external foot switch to basically go from one preset to the other, and it'll wait until the loop is finished and then start the other one, and it's seamless, so it works really well in that context. So that's why sequencing these files might be important. So now we have a preset in 1, 2, and 5. So once we look at the pedal, we should see that those are assigned on the pedal itself, but let's first look at the backup and restore. So let's assume that this is now my set loops, and I wanted to keep a snapshot of this. So I can use the backup feature. So if I go in the settings area and do file backup, I can now go and browse and pick a backup location where I want these to be placed. And it will basically name the backup as I have one here that I've done previously. So it'll name it wave, the same as the folder, and then a timestamp, date timestamp when the backup was done. So if I just go ahead and open it, it'll create a new backup. So it has successfully backed up the content of the pedal now. And this would include these loops that I've put on or loops that I've recorded on the pedal. They are also just audio files assigned to the preset number. So they would show up here as well if I did record a loop, so I could back them up. So now I've got my backup done. So let's just clear out the pedal. So we'll delete each of these. And just start fresh again. So now we have no audio files on the pedal, so I will go and use the restore feature now. So if I click on the settings area, restore, it will warn me that I'm about to restore, and I have an option as well. I can either just restore whatever is in the backup. So we had 1, 2, and 5 presets assigned. If I had inserted 6, 7, 8, and so on, when I restore and I don't delete what's on the pedal already, it will keep whatever's there and just replace what's in the backup. So it'll refresh those setting placeholders that are contained in the backup. If I select the delete all before, then it will basically clear the pedal before it does the restore. So that's an option on the restore. And if I go ahead and do the restore, it will show me my backup location, and I can pick the backup that we just did. And if I open this, we will see that I had preset 1, 2, and 5. That's what's contained in the backup, and that's what's going to be restored. And I can just click open, And now it's restoring, so it's placing this back onto the pedal and it's done. So I have now again 1, 2, and 5. So that's the app and that's how it works. So let's now go back to the pedal, and I will do a quick change so that we can record from the pedal when I play it on the pedal. Okay, so I will unplug the, let's zoom out, and I will unplug. So we're basically back to the pedal in working state. And if we look at the pedal now, we see that preset 1 is assigned, preset 2 is assigned, preset 3 and 4 are not assigned, they're white, and then preset 5 was assigned. So it matches what we had in the app. And if we go ahead and sample this now, I'm just going to make sure we're recording. And we are. Okay, so you should hear what's on the pedal now. And if we look at preset 2, and preset 5. So that is how the app works. So I will now switch devices. Bear with me, I'll change the setup and then we will look at the app from the iPhone perspective. Okay, now we're on the iPhone, and if I open the app, we will see that it connects and it retrieves the current state of the pedal, which is our 3 presets that we've defined, 1, 2, and 5. The interface is essentially identical. If I tap the icon at the top, it will open the files browser to go select the file. The menu is still here with the settings and the backup and restore. If I open settings, it's identical. Everything is the same. Functionality-wise, it's identical. If I tap a row, I will still have my icons to action that row. It's identical. The only difference is when you use drag and drop on the iPhone, because of the nature of the iPhone, you can't have 2 apps side by side, so I can't have the Files app open at the same time. However, drag and drop is still possible. You basically open your Files app, tap and hold the file you want to bring in, and drag it, and then with another finger while you're still holding onto that file, swipe up, open the app, and then drag the file onto the drop area. So it's still doable, it just requires 2 fingers. And now it will give me my volume adjustment. I can just convert and will add the file onto the pedal. Everything else is identical. Now the one thing I did not show when I did the walkthrough on the iPad is when we're moving a preset from one location to another. Say I wanted to take 6 and put it into preset 4, but I wanted to keep it in 6 as well, so essentially make a copy, not just move it. When I click on the number 6 for the preset, I can now again see which one placeholders are available. And before I click on 4, if I turn on the keep original copy option at the top, that will basically keep the original the preset in the original location and copy it in the target as well. So now we will have it in 4 and 6. I did not show that on the iPad version, but it's the same there as well. So yeah, that's the app. Let me know in the comments what you think and if it's something you might find useful, and then I will see if I put it available on the App Store. Thanks and have a great day.